Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Today we have a few tractor related chores to take care of. The RD6 is at the ready behind me, but first I want to begin with a viewer question. Chris FC5SF says, "Hey man, wanted to say hello from Texas. Love watching your videos and everything that you do. Thanks much. But I have a question. Can you show the boards and the building that you use on your trailer to keep your tracks from sliding? Trouble with my track machines going up my trailer. Would like to see what you came up with. Thanks for the ideas. Keep up the good work. Your friend in Texas, Chris." Yeah, we can do that. So the trouble I always had with running steel tracked machines up these angle iron beaver tails and trailer ramps was the fact that steel tracks just tear these things up. Plus you have the steel on steel factor where if you're on a side slope they can get a bit slippery and slide side to side. So I created these overlay type ramps out of some stuff we had around. These are roughs on 2-inch thick 2x10s, and I backed them up with these started life as 2x4s, and I had to rip them a little bit shorter on the table saw in order to get them to set down well between the angles. But then stretch this out. I fixed old rubber belting to the tops of them. So this is the surface, this rubber surface, that's what the tracks actually engage with. And I attached it with a bunch of construction screws with some washers under the heads. You can see some have popped loose, but I also put some lag bolts through in 3 spots on each one and went and countersunk them on the back sides. As you can see here and here, that's just extra insurance to make sure we don't rip one of these sections of belting off. And I made each one of them in 2 pieces so that they hinge in the middle. And that comes in handy for the lower piece rests on the ramp, then the upper piece rests on the beaver tail, and you have this flexible joint in between in case your ramps and your beaver tail start to move and flex and everything else. And then another trick I did, you can see here at the top, I stopped just short of the back of the deck with the 2x10, but I bridged that distance with the rubber belting, and this gives me 2 breakover points to ease crawlers up and over instead of just the one at the top of the beaver tail. So if you can go up in a controlled manner or down, you have kind of the first break and then the second transition, and it's a lot smoother and a lot easier on everything. Now, the downside is you've got 2 additional pieces that you have to carry around with you everywhere you go, but, well, one way or another, you're going to have troubles. You're just choosing which troubles you prefer to deal with. And those have really saved a lot on the back of the trailer. When I put those together originally, I intended for them to maybe last 3 years, 5 years. It's been about 15 years they're still holding together. And they're great because if you need to stop halfway up the back of that trailer, you can. You've got absolute traction, nothing slides, nothing moves. You can steer a little bit and correct. Love them. All right, and as long as we're on the topic of the trailer, a couple episodes back when we were moving all the equipment to the red shed, I got a lot of questions wondering if the RD6s were going to find a spot in there. And the answer is no. Unfortunately, these tractors are too heavy for this trailer. And I've mentioned this a few times on the channel, but I think it's good to get into it again because the question keeps popping up. So I'm unable to haul them, for one, and 2, I have no clear path to drive any tracked machines to the red shed, which is just on the back side of the field right there. Senior's place is up in the woods there. I think you can hear them on the tractor right now. So between the 2 properties, we've got approximately 1/8 mile of paved road right here with swamp on both sides. So with no way to haul, no road shoulders wide enough to take them on, and no dry ditches to use, the RD6s are basically landlocked, if you will, here at Senior's Place. And that's also why I never had an RD6 up there for any of the field land clearing. I did all that with D2s and farmalls because I could easily transport them there. And that's also why you've never seen an RD6 yet at a plow day. I can't move them. So, all right, those were the questions I wanted to answer. Now let's get some chores done. So here we have Caterpillar D2 5U 4177. I can never remember that because, well, I bought this 3 years ago, kind of with the intention of it being a parts machine. I had some undercarriage pieces on it that I wanted, and then we did a tow it around, kind of will it start type episode on the channel here, and I couldn't believe how well it ran. This is the one that the back end is just out of. Probably one of the worst condition drawbars I've ever seen. It's probably got the worst bevel shaft play I've ever seen between the steering clutches, but the brake pedals are nice and sharp yet. I think we're going to try a pull start on this again today because of that on the starting engine. We haven't even tried to run that. That's probably a candidate for the old line bore and custom front and main bearing job. So, well, been giving it a once over. We've got good fuel and we've got good oil in the engine. Boom there. But one thing that's oftentimes overlooked, oil on the transmission. They give you a dipstick and everything. I swear Caterpillar thought of it all. And we're good to go. Oh, come on. Maybe that's why it's so hard to get people to check that. We're tied down to the red shed. You know when the last time was we towed a D2 on the trailer still idling? That's when we brought Grandpa's old 5J home the first time.
Oh yeah.
2115?
Yep.
That was another pull start only machine. They'd blown the pony motor up on it. So we pulled it with the guy's tractor, got it on our old trailer, left it idle till we got home, offloaded it home, and that's when we shut it off.
And started salvaging tracks.
Yeah.
The tracks that went on X253.
Yep, those were the ones. That's the only reason I bought that 5J, and now it's Caterpillar addiction. That was the start of it all.
The old tamaracks are turning yellow, starting to lose their needles.
Winter's coming.
And it's not far off. Trees are looking pretty bare. A lot of oaks holding their leaves on yet. Wonder when Rick's going to come after them hay bales.
Not until there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. That's the unofficial rule.
Okay.
I've seen it happen more than once.
You've got a few loads sitting out here.
Yeah. All right, we made it. Man, you talk about a growly back end. Wow. Okay, we might try to tow start the D4. This is another one that I don't use the pony on because it isn't mine, and that always smells like gasoline. It's back to doing it right now. But we'll do a tow on it. I know we're good. Oh yeah, good on engine oil there. Important step right here. Check transmission. Ooh, lots of good stuff in there. Almost like it's just recently been filled.
Looks like you got oil pressure there too.
Look at that. We've already got oil pressure. That must be one tight engine. Senior had to get a little bit creative with the hookup here because our drawbar was so bad. Okay, I guess that went pretty well, all things considered. And I know what some of you may be thinking. Okay, those 3 tractors that are over there were parked over there last time, but now this time the 3 tractors are on the other side. These 2 new track machines get parked where they used to be. What's going on? We don't understand. Well, a feller gets to thinking when he's trying to fall asleep at night, and then the old eyelid starts to twitching, and then all of a sudden it hit me. Wheels on this side, tracks on this side. How could I have not seen that when I was parking all these things? We have just taken chaos and returned them back to order. And that isn't the half of it. When I pushed these 3 over here by hand, by myself, of course, we limbered these 2 up pretty well when we had them on the road, but the Super was sitting there and the 48 was sitting there. So then I had to push these 2 back out, swap places so that those 2 Supers could be side by side. And I'm telling you one thing right now, not many people could cope with what happens between these ears. So, to round things out, seeing as how we're only about a week off from Halloween, there's one more thing I should probably do today. Do you want to listen to the radio? That looks about right. I don't wear these anymore either. And, Yep. So I had to run home real quick for the finishing touch, but that looks about right. Okay, so I mentioned this is not my D4. Well, this belongs to Scully here. This is his D4, and he's going to stay up here. Just keep watch over it all winter long. He's a happy guy. It's in, out of the weather. He's got his beer. He's got some shades. He's pretty much set to go. So, and with that, we're just about done moving everything in here that needs to be here for the winter. A couple more machines may be driven up here yet. Senior's still on the fence whether or not he wants to bring his D2 with the dozer blade up here or leave it at home in case of worst case snow scenario this winter. We'll see what he decides, but we've still got plenty of room. So thank you all for watching. We had some fun today. Not really the typical style of startups that I usually do, but we saved those for the end because I knew they were going to be the most work. So I hope you all enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you all back again. Be good, Scully.